Hey everybody, it is Kendell Lenice. Welcome to Kendell Lenice Live, the interview series. I'm so excited to have my guest with us today. So we're going to just take this intro into our show and we'll be back with Dr. Sonza Curtis. Hey everybody, welcome to Kendell Lenice Live. I'm so excited to have this show with Dr. Sonza Curtis. But let me just tell you a little bit about her. I know you see her right there, but let me tell you about this woman. She is a gut and thyroid doctor. Her journey as a functional medicine practitioner started at an early age. She was influenced by natural home remedies of her great grandmother, who was an herbalist and a midwife. With an open-minded perspective from having grown up in Germany, her passion was ignited to blend the wisdom of natural medicine, which I love, with scientific foundation of Western biomedicine. She went on to pursue her master's as a physician's assistant when her father died of a massive heart attack after a decade of practicing. She realized that she was only managing chronic issues. She wanted to do more than just manage someone's issues and illnesses. She said, I want to eradicate the problem and to prevent it from happening again. So we're going to definitely talk more about that. But I have to say that this woman right here is a grandmother. She's married and a mother of 4 beautiful children and 2 grandchildren. She's very active in her local community, participating in community health outreaches, including Roswell Day of Hope and back to school programs. So please welcome Dr. Sonza Curtis.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the choppy intro. Let me breathe. Woosah. I had to say my quick prayer. We're going to get into this great conversation. But first, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing? And I'm ecstatic to be here, Miss Kendell.
Thank you so much. I am well. When I first this came across my desk to interview you, and I saw what you did on the natural healing side of it, talking about gut health and thyroid disease. I told you prior to the show, I'm a colon cancer survivor, so I'm all about the gut health. Absolutely. 1 year. And I have people close to me in my family who deal with thyroid disease, but I love your approach to medicine. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thank you for having me, and I'm honored to be here. And you're not a survivor, you're a thriver.
Indeed. Indeed, I am. And I thank you for that. I am a thriver because let me tell you, I'm taking this life by storm. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. So you're absolutely right. And I appreciate you for saying that. All right. So a little bit about your story. We heard a little bit, but your father's illness inspired you to dig deeper.
Yes, was already enrolled into nursing school, and then I
Mhm,
switched over to physician assistant
mhm.
at the time because that was on my path.
Yeah.
And I am my father's DNA. And I knew that there had to be something when he died of age 50 with a massive heart attack. So I wanted to make changes. Little did I know that I was entering to a system that was just giving a pill for every ill and wasn't really requiring individuals to be responsible for their own health. And there's things we can do to prevent, eradicate, and get rid of diseases. But that wasn't what I was taught.
What
So
were you taught?
I was taught to write a prescription. That's what I was taught, to write a prescription and fill your prescription and not really listen to you, not really to take in hand what really was going on in your life. It wasn't as bad as it is now, but at least we had a little bit of, I'd say, itty bitty of nutrition and where now nutrition is key,
Yeah.
but I wasn't taught that when I went to conventional um, physician assistant medical school at that time.
Yeah. So with Western medicine, we hear this all the time, that it's about prescribing and suppressing the issues just with medication and not really coming up with a cure. Is that something that as a doctor, is that something, I don't want to say as strongly as against, but you want to get to the root? How important is that for you? And was it a challenge going to school for Western medicine, if you will, and prescribing? And that's what we're used to. That's what we're taught. Hey, take a pill for this, take this for that. And we don't get to the root, because we have been curing holistically for years prior to Western medicine. So let's talk about that a little bit, and your concerns and your theory behind uh, Western medicine and prescribing.
Well, the theory is behind every medicine, there's a plant, right? And you synthesize it so you can get pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Once you make that in the lab, that's where all the side effects and the different things come about.
Hmm.
So why not just go back to the plant itself? So I too was a part of that, where I wrote a prescription because I thought I was doing the right thing.
Hmm.
And then again, like I said, when I saw people not wanting to take responsibility for their own health and just, oh, I don't want to lose weight, just give me a pill for my diabetes, and that's what I'll do. And I was like, no, this is not what I signed up to be, and that's for. So I went back to school to be a naturopath and really get back into the herbs. And as I was going through that journey, that's when I found out about my grandmother.
Hmm.
But as a kid, grandma used to line us up, detox us once a year, give us some nasty remedy. We only had one bathroom. We'd sit there clenching our butt cheeks, waiting for the next one to come out the bathroom because she would give us Epsom salt and lemon water. Little did we know then we were detoxing, and
Right.
we were doing castor oil, cod liver oil, Father John, all these things we were doing. And I had no, I thought this was a way of life. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this was like really preventing me and helping me stay healthy. So once I started studying, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's like I had an Oprah moment, aha moment. That's what grandma was doing. So that was when I really dived into the getting to the science, even behind the holistic medicine, because a
Mhm.
lot of times the medicine prevents different nutrients.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to out medicine the nutrients and you're causing more issues.
Yeah.
And you give a blood pressure medication, it depletes you of all your nutrients and depletes you, make a water pill, you're dehydrated, and now you need magnesium, and now you don't have magnesium, but you need that for your heart. So they just give you another pill, and now that depletes you of zinc and all the other stuff. And it's like nobody looks at the depletion and the nutrients and just the plain nutrition of what we should be eating, how should we be eating, when, and all those beautiful things that God gave us to enjoy.
Absolutely. And as I'm listening to you talk about this, it really bugs me, because you're right. Back in the day, even my mom drink some echinacea, and then we had flaxseed. I mean, we had everything natural that cleanses us, like you said, clutching your cheeks and trying to get there. And I didn't realize how ahead of the game my mother was when she was giving us that. And we're like, that's nasty, we don't want that. But how great it was for your body. And like you said, it derives from plants anyway. But what bugs me is that you're absolutely right. They give you a pill for this, but it depletes you in this. So now you have to take this, and then that depletes in this, or that messes with your kidneys, or that messes with your lungs. So now we're going to have to get this to fix this, that fix that. And it's a vicious cycle. And so many people are deficient, especially Black people, when it comes to vitamin D and certain deficiencies that Black folks tend to have with our body makeups. And you can tell me if this is the case or not, because after all, you are the doctor. But and I'm glad you have your white coat on to explain this, because white coat syndrome is a thing also. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get back to that, where a lot of us don't advocate, and I'm big on it when I go around speaking about cancer and just other advocacies. A lot of people don't advocate for themselves because they see this white coat, they see this doctor, and the doctor says, get this prescription filled, take this and this, and they follow it without doing the research, without looking at holistic approaches to whatever they're dealing with, and even changing the diet, changing the eating habits, and really going inward to try to figure out what's going on. As a naturopath, uh, a natural, what, you're a naturopath, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, I said that correctly. So your medicine is derived from plants. So if someone came to you with a illness that another doctor would prescribe this pill or that pill, what is the first thing that you would say if they came to you and said, you know what, I don't want to take any medication, I want to be able to take the holistic approach? Because I know people who have done that with doctors, and they're like, oh, we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's Eastern medicine. We don't do that. And then because of the white coat, people are like, okay, well, I'll go get my prescription filled. And I want us to be able to advocate for ourselves. So if someone came to you and they're suffering from whatever, what would you tell them, and how do you approach that patient or potential patient?
Well, generally, I don't wear my white coat in the office when I'm seeing patients for that reason alone. So when people tell me they're afraid of doctors, I said, guess what? I'm not a regular doctor, I'm a naturopath.
Mm-hmm,
So we've got that out the way. And then thirdly, I sit down and listen to my patients
mm-hmm,
and see what's going on with them.
mm-hmm,
Because sometimes it's not what you're eating, it's what's
mm-hmm.
eating you and your
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Mm-hmm,
And then if another doctor has told them that they can't do this, we sit down and I take an in-depth history. I go from preconception, like what was going on when your mom was pregnant with you. Was she smoking? Was she, was it a cesarean birth? Was it a vaginal? How was your birth? Was it traumatic? Did you have a lot of infections when you were growing up? Did you have acne as a teenager? Going through your menstrual history, take it up until current. And what I do, I'm telling my age here. Do you remember those things where you would look at a piece of paper and it was just a bunch of dots with numbers on
mm-hmm,
it, and as you connect the dots, you begin
mm-hmm,
to see the picture.
mm-hmm,
So that's what I do with my clients and my patients, and we sit down and we say, "Oh, you were born C-section, so your microbiome wasn't quietly developed, so that puts you at an adverse event for stomach issues, and then you took a lot of antibiotics." And so as we begin to draw the picture and begin to see the 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 landscape of things, then I go back and I look at it. Okay, let's start here. Let's start here.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes with my patients, I have to start with therapy
mm-hmm,
because some of them they're not ready to change. Their mindset is, I'm sick, I'm going to be sick, and that's all I'm going to do because the doctor told me I'm going to be sick.
mm-hmm,
So you have to change with the mindset and changing that limbic system. Disease starts here and in the gut,
mm-hmm,
right? The Bible, the Bible says, "Such a man thinketh, so is he."
mm-hmm.
And so if you think you're sick, guess what? You're going to be sick.
Yep,
You are what we eat. So if
yep,
you eat junk, you're going to be junk.
yep.
So Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine. But now, with the evolution of industrialization and agriculture, food has now become our poison.
Mm,
That's why I
mm,
really focus on what you put in your mouth.
yep.
Is it a friend or is it a foe? Is it causing anti inflammatory issues or is it causing inflammatory issues?
You
And
know
our,
what? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
now, our body is constantly speaking. The question is, we have to become body whispers and listen to what our body is telling us.
Who, you just said a mouthful right there. And I'm so glad that you said that, because even with me with colon cancer, my doctors were like, you eat the right things, you do what you're supposed to do, you're very careful, and yet you still get colon cancer. And it is so interesting that people live to eat. and you're supposed to eat to live, right? You're
Hmm.
supposed to fortify your body and put the nutrients and what you need for your body to go. Just like I always say that people, when it comes to cars, they're more cautious and considerate of what type of gas they put in their cars. They're like,
Girl,
wait
you
a
speaking my language now. Come
minute.
on now.
Yes, they'll say, wait a minute, no, you better not put regular gas in there. This takes supreme, this takes premium. But with your body, you will put so much junk in there. You don't stop anybody if they try to give you, some greasy food or something, some dairy or something you're not supposed to have. And you also talked about listening to your body. And I had to do that on a many occasion, especially with dairy. Like, my body rejects dairy. And I don't care if I like cheese. I don't care if I like macaroni and cheese. I choose vegan options now, but I don't care that I love pizza. I know that love for pizza doesn't love me back, or that cheese. So I have to listen and I have to watch my body to see how my body responds, and really consider strongly and say, you know what? Do I want this result every time I eat cheese? Is this worth it? Or do I want to make sure I'm healthy? And it bugs me when I hear Dr. Sonza with people saying, well, I'm gonna die from something, or I've been eating this way for forever, and my such and such lived this long and they didn't die. That bugs me so much. And I wanted also, you just really got me, you got me
Got you
right now.
fired up, girl.
You do, because I'm gonna tell you, I had oral surgery last week, right? And they gave me antibiotics, and I'm always, they say you have to take them and take the whole thing. I understand affection, all that, but it always, anytime I get dental work or something like that, it always, I want to reject it. I honestly do, because I don't take medicines, and I always want to reject it, but I don't want an adverse effect, so I end up taking it. Now, with antibiotics, I want to talk about prebiotics, postbiotics, and all of that good stuff. But what does that do to your body when you take antibiotics in
Antibiotics.
pill form?
Yeah, antibiotics. This is the way I look at it. Antibiotics are good when it's given. That's the great thing about Western medicine. In an emergency situation, if I'm having a heart attack, don't give me no herbs.
Right.
Okay. My leg falling off, don't give me no herb.
Right.
I
Right.
just let's just keep it real.
Right.
But if I got, elevated blood pressure, chronic disease, Western medicine falters when it comes to chronic disease, and we just treat it. We don't work on preventing it. So if you have some issues with where you need to be pre-medicated, that's going to protect your heart with
Mhm.
antibiotics so you don't get heart issues.
Yeah.
But what I tell patients is now we know the landscape. Now we know how to navigate. So if you're taking the antibiotics, you should take a probiotic. And that's so the probiotic, because antibiotics knocks away all the bacteria in your gut. So it just doesn't go after one, it goes after the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like a grenade. It just blows everything up.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you don't replenish that gut microbiome with good fertilized probiotic, then you can set yourself up for additional what we call multi bugs, or multi strains of infection. So if you have to take a probiotic, I mean an antibiotic, I always tell my patients take a probiotic within 4 hours of taking the antibiotic, so you don't kill either one. But that's going to
Mm-hmm.
help restore your gut flora. And then you can't be eating a lot of sugar,
Mm-hmm.
because infection and bacteria loves sugar.
Can you
So
say
if
that
you,
again? Say that again. The
yeah,
people that say, I gotta have my sweets. I
no,
gotta, it's, please, sugar is a killer. I want
yes.
you to just talk more about sugar, and people don't realize that.
Actually, uh, let me put it this way, because some people get mixed up. So if you're looking at your labels and it says sugar in the nutritional facts, where is the sugar coming from? If the sugar is coming from your fruit or your veggies, and veggies have sugar in them, so your fruit or your veggies, it's okay. But when we get to the ingredients, where we're talking about the processed sugar, all those sugars, sugar will paralyze your immune system up to 4 hours after
Mm,
consuming it. So we are in the midst of what?
mm.
Big COVID, everybody's, infection wise. So just to keep your immune system going, decrease the sugar, stop the sugar, because you're decreasing your immune system on top of, like you said, with vitamin D.
Ooh.
So you add those two and you get like a 1-2 knockout punch. And then you're wondering why these diseases are prevalent in our community, because first of all, you look at the stores. Can you tell me a Whole Food in a predominantly African American community? There's not a
Right.
Whole Food,
Nope.
not a Trader Joe's, not
Nope.
a Sprouts,
Nope.
or any of those.
You speaking my language. Mm-mm-mm.
So they're almost forcing us to eat
Mhm.
those types
Processed
of
foods,
processed foods.
sugary foods, expired foods. People don't realize you have to shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Come on now.
That's where the healthy food is. Everybody wants to go down the aisle. Show me where the cereal is. Show me where the cake is. Show me where this, and that's killing us. So that's why when you look at some of these hood grocery stores or in the inner city, they got all that sugar in the front. It hits you as soon as you walk in the door. And sometimes they'll be in where you'll go in Sprouts, you'll go in those. I just was in Sprouts last week, just was in Trader Joe and Whole Foods. And it's a difference when you walk in, you see the produce first.
Hmm.
Most grocery stores you do, but I've noticed in some of the other neighborhoods, you don't see produce first. And if you do, it's bad
Hmm.
and nobody's eating it. And that's why they opt for something else, because who's going to want to eat, bad fruit? Who's going to want to eat limp kale or spinach? So they're like, forget it. Let me go get this Kraft macaroni and cheese in a box, this processed mess. Let me go get these TV. Look, I'm old school talking about TV
TV
dinners,
dinners. Okay.
microwavable dinners now. And that's what they have. And then if I don't feel like cooking, let me run over to McDonald's and get, a value meal for my kids. And they wonder why our immune systems are not up to par. They wonder why, we're dying or getting diseases at rapid rates. So I'm sorry, you're the doctor, but this bugs me. I want us to do better. So I'm so glad you're on here saying this, because your white coat and your degrees give you, my degree is in human services, is not in medicine. So I'm so glad that you're talking about
But
this.
you have common sense degree. You know what I mean? So common sense isn't so common these days.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. My my heart desires to get the message out to people that look like us,
Mm-hmm.
that we have to understand the value. You might, like, I don't take insurance. You might have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't say, well, you don't take insurance. I don't want to pay for that. But yet I'll see a patient come in here with a Louis Vuitton bag, red bottom shoes, driving,
You better, you
you
better,
know, a Land Rover.
you better preach.
And then when you ask them for their payment, they're like, oh, wow, you that much? And I'm like, oh, you just robbing black people. I'm like, no, I have to keep my lights on and all that stuff. I spend an hour and a half with you. I don't spend 10 minutes with you. I can't see them, all those patients.
Ooh.
So we have to understand that we are valuable, like you said,
Mhm.
that we are worthy of
Mhm.
this and we deserve this.
Absolutely.
Because right now, that the food chain source, I have a friend of mine, her husband's in food chain, there's going to be a shortage of food. We need to kind of start going back and start learning how to plant backyard. There's a gentleman in Brooklyn, I think he calls himself um, the ghetto gardener,
I
where he
heard.
shows people how to take drawers and plant and put that in plant their produce and all that in the drawer and put it on their wherever,
Wow.
and have their own thing. So we have to really go back to what our ancestors did in
Yeah.
order to survive.
Yeah. Wow. And I could talk to you for days. I know I don't have much time. I want to be respectful of your time. I just want to, if you can break down for people. It's a couple of things I want you to do. And when I was on your Instagram page, I was like, I just wanted to go through liking everything, right? But I want you to talk about the differences. You talked a little bit about it, but prebiotics, because you don't hear that often. Postbiotics, you don't hear that often, but we hear about probiotics. I wanted to ask you about those three. And then I also wanted to ask you about probiotic foods, but I wanted to ask you a personal question also about kombucha.
Okay.
Um, is that good for you or no when it comes to the probiotics and replenishing yourself in that way, especially if you've had antibiotics or if you just want to make sure everything is working well for your gut?
Kombucha is a great source. Any
Okay.
type of fermented food is a good
Okay.
pro, and
Woo.
sometimes they even have prebiotic. I
Mm-hmm.
think the thing gets to is when sometimes people have too much of
Mm-hmm.
it. And so if you really look at the
Sugar.
bottle of kombucha, it'll say, you know, it's 2 servings in that bottle,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll drink the whole bottle. And I have patients come in, "Well, I had gut issues." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you're only supposed to drink half of that. That's 1
Mm-hmm.
serving."
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the sugar, like you said, the sugar content in that. But in anything, um, Tyndall, when you take it too much of anything can be
Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah.
So if you do it in moderation, it is a great source. It's a great bacteria medium, just kind of help the integrity of the cells in the gut just become healthy, helps
Yeah.
with your digestion, helps with elimination. So you don't have, constipation. It helps with, breaking down the food because it's when we
Yeah.
get a certain age, we don't really break down the food.
Yeah.
And then the prebiotic is, I always say the prebiotic is like the fertilizer to your garden.
Mm-hmm.
And the probiotic, is just those things that's going to help with that immune barrier and making sure we have over 38 trillion bacteria in our gut. So if they're symbiotic, that means they're symphony, they're
Mm-hmm.
playing together. When they come dysbiotic, that's when they become issues and you start to have gut issues.
Mm-hmm.
Most disease really starts, I'm doing a talk coming up about the mouth and the gut, but most diseases usually start inflammatory in
Mm-hmm.
the gut and the mouth. So that's why I tell patients, it's all about gut health. So when
Mm-hmm.
I go to heal, I heal from the inside out. Well, I
Yeah.
got this, I got this. Well, we start with the gut. That's my foundation. And then we can start building the walls and putting the windows on and then decorating and the roof and all of that. But we have to build a foundation, and gut health is a foundation to health. And that's why when people have gut issues, or like yourself with the colon cancer, you have to be careful because that can wreak havoc and cause other issues. And then it's simple. You go through the lymphatic system and you can get, um, metastatic and all this other stuff. But once you stop it, that's the beauty of it. You stop
Yeah.
it from spreading.
Yeah. Mm. And I put and I had a different color and a different brand, and I left with blue. And I was like, oh, let me change this real quick because blue is colon cancer. The color of colon cancer awareness is blue. So I had it, and I said, let me hurry up and switch this because anytime that I can speak about that, I believe I'm still here to be able to encourage everyone else to make sure that they properly take care of themselves. And even like me, I'm very specific on what I eat and what I don't, and I still got that. So I can only imagine someone who just doesn't care what they put in their system. So I want to help save us, and we are on that same mission together to try to do it naturally. I definitely,
And go get checked out. We are so
yes,
afraid of the doctors,
yes,
but if you don't, it's like this. If you don't stop eating out at a restaurant because you didn't like the restaurant.
mm-hmm,
You find another restaurant that you like. So if
absolutely,
you don't like your doctor, you're paying that bill.
yeah,
Even if you're paying your insurance, you're paying that doctor's bill.
yeah,
Find one that you like. When you find one that you like, I don't care if they're purple, pink, yellow, whatever, but find one that you like and that you trust, and that's going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And you need to go get, some of these things that people thought, oh, they're overkill, but you need to get those checkups
Yeah.
and find out, what goes on in grandma, what goes on this house stays in this house. A lot of times we need to talk
Deadly.
about
Hmm.
our health at, with our kids. Okay, this is in the family, this is in the
Yeah.
family, this is in the family. And so once you know that, then you can, okay, breast cancer's in the family, I need to start getting checked earlier,
Yeah.
whether it's thermography, whether it's mammography. I
Yeah.
always tell people I don't shoot on anybody, because whatever decide, I'm here to support you in your health journey. I'm not here to point my bony finger at you and shit on you like you shouldn't do that. So
Hmm.
I'm going to support you, but I'm also going to be honest with you. If you say
Yeah.
you're going to go do Timbuktu, I'm going to say, nah, you don't need to do that. That's not
Yeah.
going to, that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
These are your options, and
Yeah.
this is what you need to do. But getting our colonoscopy, or either Cologuard, or
Yep.
just getting checked. If you're having bleeding, you know, go get it checked out. We're
Absolutely.
so afraid of the unknown. Everybody's afraid of the cancer word,
Yeah.
the COVID. And I did cancer uh, uh, mm, when I first got into nursing over 30 years ago.
Mm.
And when I look at the progression of what they're doing now, it's phenomenal. My mom died of cancer. She
Wow. I'm sorry.
thrived for with multiple myeloma, a disease that normally takes people out in 6 months to a year. She thrived 13 years because
Wow.
what
God bless her.
we gave her natural
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah. I
And it's
don't.
inevitable. We're all going to go there. I mean, that's an appointment we're all going to make, but
Yeah.
it's not how you die, it's how you live. So when people say they're going to
Woo!
die of something, but how did you live? You in life with an amputated foot?
You, man, I want to jump through this screen because you are speaking my language, Dr. Sanja, because it's so, Sansa, it's so important. And even when people ask me, well, what were your symptoms? I didn't have any. And 7 out of 10 people who have colon cancer do not have symptoms. So had I not been an advocate for my health, I was approaching 50 at that point. And I was like, I need to go before 50. I just felt that I did. And had I waited until my 50th birthday or that whole year in 50, I would not be here.
Yeah.
So and I always say, people say, well, I don't want to get a colonoscopy because they have to put you to sleep. I was like, do you want to be put to sleep forever? Because that could be your option as well. You
Hello.
definitely need to do that. But you said so many different things. And I know I can't keep you here all day, but I just wanted to just touch on something that you said. You said that people find it hard to pay you. As a life coach, I get that too. If you don't take insurance, right? And people have these. We need to start. Let me just say, we need to start taking better care of ourselves from the inside out.
Hello.
Yes, the red bottoms are nice, the cars are nice, the hair, everything, all of that superficial stuff is nice, but you need to start taking care of yourself from the inside out. And that's what excuse me, I'm getting tongue tied because this is very passionate for me, to have you here, Dr. Sandra. Okay, quickly, if someone couldn't afford to come to you, right? They want to come to you. They don't have the latest and greatest. They just don't have the money, but they know that they want to see a naturopath, right? And they call you and they say, well, I don't know what to do. I can't see you right now. I'm going to save my money to come see you. But what can I do to have a healthy gut? Because from my understanding, a lot of disease starts in the gut.
That is true.
So what would you tell that person who can't afford it, but they need some tips in type of foods that they eat that will help them with their gut health?
My big three things that I take off it, and I do a 30-day gut reset. I am in the process of doing an online program
Mm-hmm.
that's coming out probably in the next 2 months that will be affordable for people that just want to do a DIY, where they
Mm-hmm.
just want to start. But I normally have patients come off, do a 30-day gut reset where they come off gluten, dairy, and sugar. And then they take a probiotic and a digestive enzymes to kind of help them with breaking down the food. So if you can just start with that and just be mindful of the things that you're putting in your mouth, because I always tell people, like you said, if you eat out of a bag in a box, you're going to end up in a bag in a box. Okay? So just being mindful, and like you hit it on the nail. Listen to your body. When your body's telling you you need to go to the doctor, go. Don't sit up there and give it every excuse, because we have that sense, and I call it that gut sense. So I work on the gut, and then you have to have that gut sense to listen to what your body is telling you. You might not even know why you're doing it, or why you're going, or why you're doing these things. But once you go, then you're like, "Oh, that's the reason." And I am grateful that you listen to your body, and that you got a mission. You have to tell other people. And I think your mission is very powerful, because you walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
You've overcome.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amen.
people can look at you and say, "Oh, if she can thrive, I can thrive."
Yeah.
And how did you do it?
Yeah.
So my hat goes off to you. I have
Thank
never had cancer, um, to my that I know of. Let me knock on wood.
you.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I just the psychologic, the thing that I don't know. And I took care of my mom, who had it, but I've never walked that walk. So you have a powerful message, and God has given you the golden key to help people to do what they need to do.
I appreciate that so much. And I'm going to start because I use Thrive in different areas, but I didn't use it with my cancer journey, because you always hear cancer survivor. And I always talk about thriving, even when I'm talking to my clients, but I'm definitely going to remix that, because truly I am, and I'm here to talk to you and to really help push this agenda further. When I first started the interview, I felt like I was like all over the place because I was very passionate. I was like, okay, I wanted to be able to speak to you as I do professionally with all my interviews that I do. But then I was tied to it a little bit. So if you realize in the beginning, I was kind of, because I didn't want to, when I do interviews, I don't really share much of me. I allow my interviewee to speak, but I was like, I want, God kept pulling me. You get what I'm saying? Still
Mhm.
share a little bit of yours. So I was trying to find that fine line. So that's where I was in the beginning. If you notice, something was a little off because I was trying to do that. But I appreciate you so much, and for having this conversation. Hopefully, what you're doing, and for people to see this. And if you're watching this live or you're watching the playback back, please, please, please share this. This is so important, especially for the Black community. And on my page, it's about education, elevation, and entertainment, and really pushing the Black agenda forward, and remixing the narrative that folks have of Black people, and showing all different kinds in issues that plague our communities. So I'm so grateful and thankful. I want you, if you could quickly just talk about the 3Ds of wellness. That's something that you're doing, and then we're going to wrap up.
Okay. 3D wellness is mind, body, and spirit. And it's for the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and that three triune. Okay. So and I had 3 degrees. So that's how I came about with 3D wellness. But I'm a firm believer that you have to heal all levels in
Yes.
order to be healthy. Now, healing doesn't mean that you're going to go into remission necessarily. Healing is sometimes just coming up to, I'm going to do everything that I can to help my body and understand my body. Because some people come in and say, well, why did Joe get his diabetes go away and mine didn't? For instance, I have high blood pressure. I've had it ever since I was 17 years old. When I tell you I have my DNA of my father, I have the DNA of my father. But I do not have to write the same story as my father. Okay, I can change that narrative. And that's what 3D is all about. It's, it's about thriving regardless of what situation we're in. And a lot of times we can put those things into remission, and just by sometimes thought process, listening to our body, high blood pressure, stress. So we have to manage our stress. And I'm so ecstatic. I could talk all day long with you, and I love it. And
Mhm.
I'm just so blessed to be here, and I'm honored to be here. And I think other people just listen to your body. It is time for us to take back our health. This is the was the what a couple years ago was the year of Jubilee, and
Mhm.
that needs to be the year of Jubilee in everything,
Yeah.
not just financial thing, not just land. It's our health. And the health is, it is your birthright to be healthy. Okay, it's
Come
our
on.
birthright to be healthy, not
Yeah.
to be broken down. You look at the commercial, and you're like, oh, I think I have that, I need that pill. And they're programming us to
Mhm.
even think that. Even the food, they
Mhm.
actually put things in the
Mhm.
food so you just
Come
won't
back.
stop.
Yeah, to make you come back.
And you're
Woo.
feeding, like in that sugar, most time people will have candida or their diabetes, and you're
Mhm.
feeding that monster within. So when you look at it like, wait a minute, why am I eating this sugar? Body, let me put you in check. Now you need to take a time out. We're not getting this sugar today.
Yes.
And then we need to put our body in the subjection. We have control, and we are in control, and it's time to take back what's rightfully ours. And
Mm.
thank you.
Mm. You're so welcome. Please promise me that you'll come back when you have some more time, because I really want to continue this conversation with you.
I
I would love
will.
to have you back. Tell the people how they can get in contact with you on social media, your website, and also if they want to, where are you? If they want to book an appointment with you.
I am in Roswell, Georgia. It's right outside of it, right out north of Atlanta, Georgia. My website is um, www.3, and that three is spelt out THREED wellness.com. And my Instagram is Dr. period Sonza Sonza Curtis on Instagram. And that's really where I kind of keep things up on Instagram. TikTok, I'm getting into that. Old woman trying to do some TikTok. Uh,
Honey, I love
and
TikTok.
and that's the gut doctor. So those are my main platforms. LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Sonza Curtis on LinkedIn as well. So those where you can reach out to me, or you can call the office. I have a health coach, and uh, she can will go over a 15-minute consultation, free consultation. If you just want to say, okay, I think she's right for me, I'm not quite sure if she's right for me, you can always call. Sharon is a wealth of knowledge, and she can help you navigate. And you know what? She's gone through the process. She
Mm,
started as a patient,
mm,
went back to get her health coaching, and now she's working with me because she understands the process. So anything that she tells you, she's walked the walk herself. So she totally understands. Now she doesn't look like me or you, but it doesn't matter because she has the heart. She has the
mm.
3D wellness heart.
Well, I'm coming to Roswell, Georgia. And one of these days, I will let you know when I'm coming, and I'm serious about that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching Kendell Lenice Live. This is Dr. Sonza Curtis. Please follow her on Instagram, even if you can't afford to go to her, if you're not in the Georgia area. She has a wealth of knowledge on her website as well as her social media. So please check her out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Thank you. Have a
Bye,
great day.
everybody. Thank you for watching.